Last time we were exploring Greece. This time we are in Australia, showing you Toowoomba. We came to Toowoomba to visit our friends Sid, Pretty and Anayati. This is a place that retains its country charm, but it's got a growing urban coffee culture, it's got a street art scene, it's also known as a garden city, and we decided to explore one of the best cafes in the city, thanks to the tip from the locals.
Good morning, welcome to the Toowoomba at Little Patisserie Cafe, where you can get a handmade chocolate and a lot of goodies. Here I'm making the stuffed Italian focaccia bread, which stuffed with the sun-dried tomato and feta and rosemary, and seasoned with the salt and peppers. Generously drizzle with extra virgin olive oil. A little bit salt and pepper on top, and concentrate balsamic.
Oh, yummy.
Yes. And goes with basil pesto. Thank you.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Thank you.
Well, our visit to Toowoomba is going very well. Very, very well. Today's World Chocolate Day. And look, I would seriously encourage you as you're passing through Toowoomba to not just stop in the big shopping centre, but to get out into the suburbs and find perlers like this cafe. Now, I've travelled all through Europe, and let me tell you, the Danishes here are better than anything in Europe. You really need to encourage and support local businesses and do a bit of exploring, because this is wonderful, this is fantastic, and it's just so beautiful, and they're just so welcoming when you come in.
Toowoomba is a city in the Darling Downs region of Queensland, Australia. It doesn't just have a Cobb & Co museum, which is horse-drawn carriages. It's also got beautiful architecture and a very, very famous flower festival. Toowoomba is only 90 minutes drive from Brisbane. It also has a rail connection and bus connections if you're interested in visiting it on holidays.
Toowoomba could, and I'm not saying it does, market itself as a little Melbourne. So the middle of Toowoomba's got this massive shopping centre, but surrounding the shopping centre there's quirky lanes, there's an art gallery, there's a really cool library, but there's these little nooks and crannies, and there's quite a lot of artwork, and it has this Melbourne feel, especially in the winter when, you know, there's a Christmas in the air, and, you know, you can wander around and look at the interesting shops and see the interesting people rugged up in the weather, and they're kind of dressed up because it's winter. So, you know, me, it's got a flavour of Melbourne with its own distinct Queensland vibe.
This is a place where you can find modern Melbourne style stuff, but also country Australia style clothing and souvenirs. It's a really funky little place. There's historic buildings, and in Australia, historic buildings, you know, we're talking about like the 1920s, 1950s, right? But there's like the Masonic Hall, and all sorts of, I don't know, nostalgic kind of attractions.
We're at the markets in Toowoomba. There's Saturday markets, and it looks really cool. It's at Queen's Park, or just next to Queen's Park at the Cobb & Co Museum. So anyway, it's really cool. We're with our friends. Here's a 90. Here's one of our best friends, a 90. Yes, a 90.
And we're going to have a look all around at everything she's going to show us.
मेरा ख्याल है भी झुकी हुई निगाह में खुली हुई हंसी भी है दबी हुई सी चाह में मैं जानता हूँ मेरा नाम गुनगुना रही है वो मैं
The best part about markets in Australia is that you get to see a lot of old-fashioned Australian foods and products, and you get that sense of the diversity and, you know, mix in the community. And it's especially somewhere like Toowoomba, there's a really cool mix of stuff here.
कुछ अजीब थी ये शाम भी अजीब है वो कल भी पास पास थी वो आज भी
Traditional food.
This is a Dagwood dog. This is a vegan Dagwood dog. So there we go, the Kraken is vegan.
This is deliciousness, I think. Let's test it.
Start from lasciatemi cantare con la chitarra in mano lasciatemi cantare sono un italiano buongiorno Italia gli spaghetti al dente un partigiano come presidente con l'autoradio sempre nella mano destra, un canarino sopra la finestra. Buongiorno Italia con i tuoi artisti, con troppa America sui manifesti, con le canzoni, con le mori, con il chiori, con più donne, sempre meno sore. Buongiorno Italia, buongiorno Maria. Gli occhi piani di malinconia, buongiorno Dio, lo sai che ci sono anch'io.
We're in Queen's Park in Toowoomba, Queen's Park's right in the middle of Toowoomba, and it's a Victorian era park. And Australia's covered in these Victorian era parks, and they're usually fantastic. You know, they're kind of half botanical gardens. Quite a lot of them have zoos in them. And they've always got something interesting. So, in this one they've got old cannons, and one of the things they've got here is this old steamroller. When I was a child, we used to come up here and we used to climb all over this. You know, we used to have a day trip up from Brisbane and we'd climb over it, but now it's all, roped off. But you can still climb on the cannons and everything that are in the park. And, it's a lovely, lovely park. And almost every country town of any size has a park like this from the Victorian eras or from Federation, and they're always great, and they're always, I think, better than modern parks because all the trees have grown out and they used to be botanical selections.
Lasciatemi cantare con la chitarra in mano, lasciatemi cantare una canzone.
And what trip to Australia would be complete without a trip to Bunnings?
Perché ne sono fiero, sono un italiano, italiano vero. नजर से यूं मिली नजर, दीवाना मैं हो गया. असर हुआ है क्या असर हाय न जाने मैं खो गया बह के कदम बहका है मन छा गया मुझ में दीवानापन
Well, our sojourn in Toowoomba has sadly run its course and we have embarked on our trip back to Brisbane. Out of interest, it's about a 1.5 hour drive back to Brisbane, or main roads. It's very easy, very quick. And look, this is just a lovely place, and it's somewhere you can just go for a few days and have a really lovely time. And there's lots of attractions nearby and in Toowoomba.
For me, Toowoomba is extra special because my beloved family, friends are here, and it makes it just so wonderful. I'm always so sad to leave. There's a train actually from Brisbane to Toowoomba, but it takes a long time. Hopefully the fast train is built at some point in the future, so that's something to check before you come. There's also a bus, but most people drive, as you can hear in the background. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Next time, join us in Thailand and Laos with the fat man's mother-in-law. Oh, and if you've liked any of the music you've heard in our video, please go into the description and you'll find information and links, including Sid Mac Sounds, which is an awesome fusion music production and collective, which is based in Queensland, Australia.